Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
Hello and welcome back to an all-new episode of the Couch Brotato Podcast, where movies meet the couch and chaos usually follows. Today we're talking about Godzilla Minus One, the 2023 film that took the legendary kaiju back to his terrifying roots. This one's not your typical monster flick. It's set in post-war Japan, packed with emotional weight, real human drama, and some of the most intense Godzilla action we've seen in years. Strap in, because the king of the monsters is back, and he's never been more terrifying. Let's get into it right now on the Couch Brotato Podcast.
Hello and welcome back to an all-new episode of the Couch Brotato Podcast, a podcast where friends shoot the shit about their favorite movies. And if you notice something a little different about the intro, been playing around with AI. I wanted to really class the joint up a bit, so I got ourselves a British announcer. Adam and I decided to name him Alistair. So that's Alistair, the new announcer for the Couch Brotato Podcast. Adam, what do you think of the new change?
I think that, you and I collectively are as cool as Iron Man, and we deserved a Jarvis. So
yeah, I don't want to call him Jarvis because that's copyright infringement, and Lord knows I don't need that kind of trouble on our back. So yeah, and any of you that know, I hate the sound of my voice. I've never listened to a single episode of our show just because every time I hear myself talk, I cringe, and I really did not like doing the openings. I just think that I sounded stupid. You guys might like them, I don't know. And if I get enough feedback, maybe we'll go back to it. But really wanted to class it up a little bit, and was playing around with AI a little bit. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try this voice thing, and dude, that gives me the vibe. It was perfect for what I wanted.
yeah, I think it's great. Although, having edited a lot of the earlier episodes of this podcast, I have to tell you that your intros are solid. Like they're really good. So you're just you're being a little bit too self-deprecating there.
Well, you're your own worst critic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
You never think that you're good enough, or you could do better. So yeah, that's a problem. But I like it. It takes a little bit off my plate. So yeah. Welcome Alistair aboard. Give us your feedback on what you think of Alistair, the new announcer for the Couch Brotato Podcast. So
All right.
maybe it'll be a permanent thing.
I think so.
Somebody's going to listen to that. They're going to hear this British guy talking, and I'm like, that's not the show I'm listening to, and turn it off.
Yeah.
Well, this week, Adam, you've been, whenever I ask you for your input on what episodes to do, like what movie do you want to cover? You always bring up the Matthew Broderick Godzilla. I mean, it always like whenever we create a poll question, you always bring up the 1990. Is it 1998?
1999.
1999. Is it 99?
I think it's 99. Maybe it's 98. You're right. I think it's 98.
Well, the late 90s Godzilla with Matthew Broderick.
Yeah. The late 1900s.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it, but I know how big of a fan you are of Godzilla. So recently we were discussing what movies to do, and you brought this one up.
Yeah.
The one we're doing tonight. It's Godzilla Minus One. Which
fantastic movie.
Yeah, came out late 2023 here in the States when American audiences were starved for content due to the writers and the writers and actors strike. So we didn't have a lot of new stuff coming out. And man, I tell you what, I've seen my fair share of Godzilla movies. Now I don't proclaim to be an expert on the man, the myth, the legend known as Godzilla. I know he's got a song about him, numerous films.
Yeah.
But this movie blew me away.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. me and you and former host of the show, Lucas. I think it was just the three of us, right?
The three of us, yeah.
Took a trip to our local Cinemark back in late 2023 to check this one out. And yeah, man, like this one stuck with me for a couple days. Like it was just a fantastic piece of filmmaking.
I did not expect that from a Godzilla flick. Like I went in going in expecting, Japanese Godzilla movie, which, always tend to be, decent. They get pretty poor reviews on Rotten Tomatoes and whatnot because, Rotten Tomatoes hates Godzilla movies. They're very Power Rangers-esque in quality when when it comes to some of the older movies. But this one was just different. It hit different. The visual effects were amazing. The writing was great. You actually cared about the humans that were on screen instead of like rooting for the monsters to fight.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it was and I don't really want to use this term because I hate using it, but I think it was a perfect storm for the just movie making in general. It was great.
Yeah, I'm glad it got discovered here in the States too, because yeah, like I don't think it would have, because I remember the last Godzilla movie that Toho made wasn't it Shin Godzilla, if I'm not mistaken?
It was, yeah.
And that was 2016?
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think it got a very, very limited run in the States. I think it got like a couple of weeks in theaters and it was just pulled. But this thing actually legged out. I think it did about $50 million here in North America.
Yeah. Yeah, it did. And that's like, don't get me wrong, I liked Shin Godzilla, but I'm also a Godzilla fan. I feel like, and people might hate me for saying this, but Shin Godzilla was, in comparison to Godzilla Minus One, was very niche. It was very like, okay, you had to be a fan of Godzilla to like it. Plus, it had a lot of political satire in it. So it was kind of, region locked in that sense. Godzilla Minus One actually kind of explored the human experiment. So it kind of bridged the gap between cultures, I think. And it kind of got received better that way in America.
Well, you're the resident Godzilla expert, so I'm gonna like yield to you on a lot of this stuff. So, this too, if I'm not mistaken, this is like the first Godzilla movie that they set in like a specific time period, right? Because every Godzilla I'd seen was like contemporary.
Yeah, very contemporary. Even the first one in 1954 was not a period piece. It was very modern at the time, and it was a comment on nuclear war at the time. But it was never a period piece until this movie.
And I think that's what makes it such a great movie is if you take Godzilla out of the equation on this and you just make it strictly a World War II like period piece where it's about a kamikaze pilot. And I'm just going to like get to it now if you're wondering what this is about. Basically, a young kamikaze pilot chickens out and he ends up landing his plane on basically a remote island that the Japanese army uses to repair airplanes. And they kind of discover that there was nothing wrong with this guy's plane. He just decided not to act out his mission. And in the midst of him being on this island, Godzilla attacks the island. And because he's too scared to fire his gun and basically give himself up to save the mechanics, Godzilla kills pretty much everybody on the island, and he has to deal with this.
Yeah.
And I think even if you take Godzilla out of the equation, it really works as like a great World War II movie and like how soldiers deal with the aftermath of a war.
Yeah.
And plus we get all the fucking cool shit of Godzilla destroying stuff.
Yeah. And I feel like it even kind of humanizes the feelings of the citizens because this movie focuses on not just like it focuses on the citizens after the war. It doesn't focus on soldiers per se.
Yeah.
So it gets their perspective, and they actually think that, okay, yeah, this government that we served kind of sucked. They didn't value human life, and you get a lot of those vibes in this movie, and it just works as a human movie versus just a monster movie.
Yeah. Fantastic filmmaking. And we'll get into some of the accolades that this movie received during the Did You Know section of the program. But now that we get to it, in case you're wondering, what in the fuck is Godzilla Minus One about exactly? Well, kids, in post-World War II Japan, Godzilla brings new devastation to an already scorched landscape. With no military intervention or government help in sight, the survivors must join together in the face of despair and fight back against an unrelenting horror. And that's directly lifted from IMDb, except for the stutter that I had in there. That wasn't part of their writing.
It adds some to it. It's fine.
It adds some humanity to it.
Yeah.
But you ready to get into some categories? Break this bad boy down?
For sure.
All right. The tail of the tape, Godzilla Minus One, is rated PG-13. It was released on November the 3rd, 2023 in Japan, and debuted December the 1st, 2023 in North America. And I do apologize in advance. There is a good probable chance I'm going to butcher a couple of these names, so I do apologize. This movie stars Ryonosuke Kamiki. Did I get that right, Adam? Because you were helping me out with some of this.
Yeah, that's pretty.
You know what? I'm going to let you pivot to it because you sound much more articulate.
Okay.
Who stars in Godzilla Minus One?
Let's see here. I'm gonna pull it up so that I can also pronounce it, because I don't want you to hype me up and then me mispronounce it too. So it is Ryonosuke Kamiki. Yeah.
Okay. And who else is in Godzilla Minus One?
Let's see, we got Minami Hamebe, and we have Sakura Ando, Minutaka Aoki, Yayuki Yamada, Kuranosuke Saki, Hidetaka Yoshikoda, Mio Tanaka, and several others.
All right. Well done, sir. Directed by Takeshi Yamazaki. Rotten Tomatoes, did I get that right?
Yeah, you got that right.
Okay, good. Yay me, I got one right. Rotten Tomatoes score of 99% from critics, 98% from audiences. The consensus, with engaging human stories anchoring the action, Godzilla Minus One is one kaiju movie that remains truly compelling between the scenes of mass destruction. Box office budget of between $10 and $15 million and grossed $116 million worldwide.
That's great.
Winner of 8 Japan Academy Film Prize Awards, and was nominated for 14. And it did win Best Picture. And it also won an Oscar for Best Visual Effects at the 96th Annual Academy Awards.
That's impressive.
And you can currently stream this on Netflix.
Yep.
Which I'm
surprised it's lasted so long on Netflix.
Yeah, I was literally expecting that once I went to get, like, okay, we've hammered this down, I'm going to watch it. And I was expecting, like, well, Godzilla Minus One just left. So I'm like, fuck, I'm going to have to buy it. Did you know these are some fun facts and tidbits regarding the behind-the-scenes production of Godzilla Minus One? Originally, Toho intended to release the film on November the 3rd, 2024, as per the celebration of the 70th anniversary of Godzilla. However, Hollywood's Legendary Pictures, which I think is a wing of Warner Brothers.
It is, yeah.
Would later plan to release their iteration of the franchise, Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire, which is the was that the second film in the Kong versus Godzilla series, or was that the first one?
It's the second film in Kong versus Godzilla, but like I think fifth movie overall in that whole universe, that monsterverse.
Yeah, I don't know. I lost track after Kong Skull Island.
Yeah.
There's an agreement between Toho and Legendary Pictures where they can't release a Godzilla movie on the same year.
Mm-hmm.
So Toho decided to release Godzilla Minus One in 2023 and allow Legendary Pictures to release their MonsterVerse version in 2024.
And not so much a hot take, but Godzilla Minus One was better.
You know what? I've never seen Kong. Is it Kong versus Godzilla, or is it just Kong X Godzilla?
Kong X Godzilla. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if that was like shorthand for, versus or that IMDb put up there, or that's the actual title. Early production on the film was impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. The delay gave director Yamazaki nearly 3 years to revise his story and script. In a theatrical pamphlet that accompanied the film's original Japanese release, which, why don't we get more pamphlets at movies?
Yeah, I know. We hardly ever get any posters either. We actually got one for the last IMAX movie we went to, but we never get any handouts.
Yeah, I'd sell for a pamphlet, maybe a leaflet, perhaps.
Yeah, I would totally take that home.
Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah, I got this from the movies.
Anyways, Yamazaki commented on how this had an impact on the theme of the film, mentioning that similarities with the original Godzilla from 1954 about the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and Shin Godzilla is about the Fukushima nuclear disaster. This Godzilla film has a subtle nod to the pandemic.
Yep.
Now, I always wondered why this was called Godzilla Minus One, but apparently Minus One is a reference to the fact that Japan had already been devastated by World War II, which brought down to zero, but with the emergence of Godzilla, this puts Japan into the negative. This is reflected in the film's original Japanese tagline, which translates to post-war Japan from zero to minus.
I actually just watched something about there's a term in Russia and Poland and probably other Eastern European countries, but they actually have a word for lower than rock bottom. And I feel like English needs a word like that.
Well, I've got a few suggestions, but we're not going to get into that. The film is not only the first Godzilla film to be nominated for an Academy Award, but is also the first Godzilla film to win an Oscar. It is also the first Japanese film and the first Asian film to be nominated and win the Best Visual Effects category. And also, in 70 years, which I'm not totally surprised, but,
yeah.
I know, considering that, Godzilla became like a Hollywood property, I figured they would have at least been nominated for something.
Yeah.
This is the first Godzilla movie to be a period piece set during the American submission of Japan and almost a decade before the original Godzilla. According to the pamphlet released with the film in Japan, once again, that pamphlet gives you everything you need to know, and it needs to be a thing here in the States.
Mm-hmm.
According to the pamphlet, Shin Godzilla had been so successful, both critically and financially, that Toho was struggling to make a follow-up. Countless proposals were made, but none felt they could live up to the impact of Shin Godzilla. However, it wasn't until Yamazaki had the proposal of making this sequel a period piece that Toho could finally begin producing a new film. Which that makes sense. I'm actually surprised that in the 70 years of the film's franchise, they never done that.
Yeah, I feel like Godzilla is like an ancient thing. Like every single Godzilla movie I've ever seen, it's like, oh, this is an ancient beast that it was awoken.
Mm-hmm.
So Godzilla's existed throughout humanity, and they just now got the idea like, hey, he should wake up during World War II.
Yeah, it's like, oh, what's going on up there? What's all that racket? In an article on Variety's website dated from December the 10th, 2023, Godzilla Minus One had a box office total of $25.3 million, making it the highest grossing Japanese live-action movie in North American history. It's also believed that, although it's not cited in the article, that having both Godzilla Minus One and The Boy and the Heron as the third and first highest grossing films on the weekend of December the 9th is the first time that two Japanese movies reached the top 5 during the same weekend in North American box office history.
That's, Toho is a powerhouse in Japan. You pair that with anything Ghibli, it's going to make some money.
Yeah, I think that's largely attributed to the fact that so many studios had pulled out movies due to the writers and actors strikes, so there wasn't a lot out there to begin with. So I think that kind of helped.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that's kind of a blessing in disguise because, I mean, this gave us an opportunity to see stuff like this in a theater. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like I've, growing older anyways, I feel like a lot of foreign movies have grown on me. I think that, when I was a little younger, I'm like, I was set in my ways. I only had certain like genres and subgenres of movies that I watched. But growing up, I feel like, okay, yeah, no, other countries can make good movies too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. Like I think my first foray into like movies outside of North America was probably Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. That was like the first thing that's the first film I'd seen in a movie theater outside, that was produced and made outside the United States. I remember seeing that, and some asshole like just yelled randomly in the movie, goes, "I didn't pay to read the movie. I want to watch the movie," and just stormed out.
Speaking of which, I cannot watch a Godzilla movie dubbed. It's so goofy. It just hearing it dubbed and then watching their mouths move after the line is over is just it looks goofy, and you don't get the same emotional weight from the actor.
Watching something like this, yes, I was not going to watch this dubbed. I had to watch it with the subtitles. However, if I'm watching the old stuff, being dubbed adds to the charm. I will not watch it subtitled. Like if I'm watching Godzilla versus Rodan, I'm watching that fucker dubbed.
Dubbed, yeah.
Or is that an actual movie like Godzilla versus Rodan?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know if it was called something else, and it's like, when they do the credits, like featuring Rodan as Rodan.
Featuring Rodan as Rodan.
And Raymond Burr. The first Godzilla film produced by Toho Studios to get an extended release in the U.S. since Godzilla 2000. Most subsequent films were released directly to home media in the U.S., while Shin Godzilla was given a limited release by Funimation.
Yeah, Funimation.
Okay. During the month of October in 2016. This was also the first Godzilla film solely distributed by Toho International since Shin Godzilla in 2016. Toho had to rely on U.S. distributors to pick up and release the film. Last one I got is Takashi Yamazaki is the second person to win the Academy Award for Best Visual Effects for a film they also directed. The only other guy to do so was Stanley Kubrick for 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Which is a great movie.
Yeah, and a little fun fact regarding that, Kubrick was not credited as one of the film's visual effects artists, and that award is somewhat controversial for that aspect.
He should be.
He should be. Because that movie is like, that's one of those movies I can't watch that often. Like I can I'm not, like, oh, what sounds like a good movie to watch tonight? It's like 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
If I catch it on, maybe I'll watch some of it, or if like, oh, hey, they're showing it in 70 millimeter, like, oh yeah, I'll go see that just to see it like that. But like, I don't actively go out of my way to watch a Kubrick movie. He's kind of a rough hang for me.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, like The Shining's good. Full Metal Jacket is good, and as fucking crazy as it is, I do get a kick out of Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah,
but some of his stuff, I can't. Mm-hmm. I 2001's like an absolute classic, but like there has to be a special occasion while I'm watching. I just will not actively seek it out to watch it.
I understand that. Kubrick is as the kids say these days, Kubrick is a vibe.
Yeah, that's for sure. Do you have any fun facts that you dug up?
I do. We had the same fun fact about this being the first Godzilla movie to win an Academy Award. It is the first Godzilla movie to win an Academy Award. One of the actors in this movie actually starred in another Japanese movie to win an Academy Award. It was Spirited Away in 2001, won for, I believe it was Best Foreign. It might have been Best Animated Feature, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. The film was actually kind of criticized, even though it was debuting at 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Some Americans thought that Godzilla wasn't in enough of the movie, and when the first negative review was posted saying Godzilla was not in enough of the movie, the director simply tweeted in response, "Finally." Somebody said something bad about it? Really? The $15 million budget, if we're going with $15 million, because it's been reported between 10 and 15, is actually less than the entire budget of the first Home Alone film, which is ridiculous to me. I remember reading an article about that and thinking, okay, well, this has entire set pieces exploding and everything. I get that they could probably do that in miniature, but just the fact that it looks so good is mind-blowing, especially on the budget of $10 to $15 million.
The crossover that we never got, but we deserved, was Kevin McAllister versus Godzilla.
Dude, Godzilla would totally slip up on those ornaments he places by the window. It's over.
Hey, can you imagine, like, he's on the Empire State, he's like walking through, like, New York, and he happens to walk past, like, the Sears Tower, and like all of a sudden he like trips up something that shoots like a flamethrower that catches the top of his head on fire. Or there's like a gigantic like cellophane from one skyscraper to another, and like, he ends up getting like fucking feathered and stuff. We need to make that happen. I'm sure Macaulay Culkin would be on board.
You know what? Let's just we'll get a hold of the guy and we'll see if he'll make the movie. I'm sure Toho would like it too.
Gets a BB gun to the crotch.
Dude, it'd have to be a pretty big BB to hit Godzilla in the crotch.
Okay, yeah, it would have to be like a Civil War cannon.
Yeah. Just poke it through a door, just like he did in the Home Alone. The director, I am not saying his name because I'm going to butcher it. Yamazaki. So let's just say director Yamazaki helped write this movie and produce the visual effects for this movie. And you can definitely tell. You can tell it was, blood, sweat, and tears from this guy because it shows.
Yeah, like the special effects in this are fantastic. Like even like the water sequences where they're trying to run away from Godzilla, and like the whole like where he's fighting the destroyer stuff. That looks better than some of the Marvel stuff that's come out recently.
That looks better than 100% of the Marvel stuff that's come out recently. Like especially, even though they don't seem to be going very fast, the scene where the little boat is just floating along and then they look back and Godzilla, his face is out of the water and he's just like right there. That's so tense. It's just so scary.
Yeah, like when when I was looking for like a picture to put like to tell everybody like, hey, we're doing this movie this week, I tried to find that picture where you just get like from his eyes up looking at the boat. I tried to find that picture because that's when you look it up on Netflix. That's the picture they give you is that one.
Yeah.
I was like, that would been such a cool movie poster to do too. But
yeah, that's literally like the Jaws poster, except for Godzilla, just his eyes up right there.
And it doesn't scare me as much as the Jaws poster. Which if you want to know the story about that, feel free to get on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast and listen to our episode talking about Jaws. And you will find out the story why that poster does a number on my psyche.
Dude, we're so far into the podcast, and that's the first cheap plug. I'm so disappointed.
Yeah, it's almost 30 minutes in.
We're off our game. It's okay though. And the last fun fact that I have is the name of the protagonist, Shikishima, coincides with the name of the squadron that conducted the first successful kamikaze attack. The Shikishima Squadron, led by Lieutenant Yukio Seki, hit and sank the USS St. Louis in 1994. Or 1944, excuse me.
Yeah, 1994. They're a bit off. Like
it was already sunk for 50 years. So
yeah, like I did not catch the time travel aspect of this movie. I must have fallen asleep during that.
Haven't you ever seen what was that movie called? The Final Countdown, where the ship goes, the guys go forward in time. Yeah, that's what happened.
Okay, it makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, good stuff, Adam. The Martin Scorsese This Is Cinema Award for the best scene of the movie. Now, there's a ton to choose from here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a lot of really like emotional scenes. Like, I almost wanted to put where Cochise confessing like what happened, like why he's in such a mental state about what happened to him and during the his time in the war and how he kind of chickened out. And even the end sequence when they all reunite, like got a little misty under the eyes because like they were all reunited.
Yeah.
But to me, best scene of the movie is when Godzilla just goes fucking ham in Ginza.
Oh yeah.
That to me is like, okay, this is a fucking Godzilla movie, and it would not have been a Godzilla movie if he's not wreaking havoc on some city, and we got it.
Yeah, that was probably my my honorable mention because I really really like the ending sequence. I love it, and I'm kind of cheating too because you mentioned like them reuniting. That's part of it, but I also like the entire sequence of them finding the plane, them like fitting the plane full of bombs. And then
oh shit, we got so wrapped up into this, we probably should have told you guys. This movie's 2023. It's kind of new. There's going to be some spoilers dropped on this. I'll put it at the beginning.
It doesn't spoil the movie to know that the plane is fitted with bombs. That's not spoil the movie. However, I am about to spoil the movie. So go and watch it and then come back and listen to this. Anyways, and then that whole scene there, him reuniting with the mechanic and making friends with it. The mechanic finally recognizes that this guy wants to make a difference. This guy is actually like, really sorry for what he did. And then he pays it forward and he's like, hey, here's the ejection seat, And it's so cool seeing that plane just go into Godzilla's mouth and then his entire head fucking exploding. Mm-hmm. It's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, like anything that has to do with Godzilla has to be at least considered because he's like the one critic that apparently gave it a shit review because he's not in it enough. I mean, I guess for that reason, because you only get the opening sequence, the water battles, and then you get him 4 times. I mean, I wouldn't expect him to I wasn't expecting him to sit at a cafe smoking a cigarette and drinking like a coffee. Like, man, like why am I the way I am? Why do I have to cause mass destruction anywhere I go? I'm just misunderstood. I'm just looking for friendship. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that.
The idea of a giant fucking lizard inside some Parisian cafe, just like smoking a cigarette on one of those long sticks. That's the image.
Yeah, he's at a Paris cafe. He's got a beret on. You hear like the accordion in the background, setting the mood. It's just Godzilla's misunderstood.
But yeah, no, that's I feel like, with scary characters, I guess, I don't know a better way to put that. Like, they did it in Jaws, where you don't see the shark as often, and the shark becomes scarier. They did it in Rogue One, where they limited Vader's screen time, and then the time he's on screen is just like super scary. And they did it in the 2014 Godzilla, the American one. They only showed a little bit of Godzilla until the very end. I feel like little bits of, good content are better than like, I forget what the term is that I used for the Godzilla X Kong. I think it was Godzilla Minus One's coked out older brother. That's what I said.
Yeah, it's Rodzilla.
So I feel like less is more in a sense. So it works. It's fine. Godzilla doesn't need to be on screen the entire time.
And so what are we going with?
Oh man, I'll go with your scene. The Ginza scene was my honorable mention, anyways.
Yeah, I mean, just for me, it's like that's what I come to expect from a Godzilla movie. It's like I need at least one city getting destroyed. It happens in every movie.
Yeah. The way they did it too, like I love the scene where the guys are on top of the building reporting on it, and like the skyscraper starts falling and they're still on top of it.
Yeah. that was actually a really nice little touch. Those are fucking genuine newsmen.
Yeah.
They're just reporting what they see. They're not like putting a hot take, like hot take. Is Godzilla really bad?
There's no giant lizard attacking Ginza right now. It's fake news.
Yeah, or is Godzilla a pedophile? Find out at 6:00 tonight.
Godzilla visits Epstein Island.
Is he on the Epstein flight logs? Find out at 6:30 on Action 6 News. But yeah, it just all that to me is just like that was like really cool, just seeing like the city getting destroyed, and you get the atomic breath, and to me that scene kind of hits a little hard too, because like it literally, Japan had just gotten hit with like nuclear weapons,
yeah,
and then like this mimics like the explosion that the people of Nagasaki and Hiroshima felt. And they got the experience, unfortunately, and just that scene just kind of, I guess, really hammers home the -1 title to me. So yeah, that go ahead.
That was the best visually, anyways. The scariest, like the way it was quiet at first and then loud like a real nuclear blast. Like that was the most astonishing, large atomic breath that I've ever seen in any Godzilla movie.
Yeah, like, well, last night I was watching it again, and my wife had never seen it, and she even said holy shit during that.
Yeah.
She's like, holy shit. Like, just, she couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
So if I get that kind of reaction out of her, like, yeah, I know it's a good scene.
Yeah. Honestly, like, just, I'm a Godzilla nerd, but like, just talking about that scene makes me want to watch that scene again. I'm probably going to watch it afterwards.
I looked it up on YouTube because before I started watching, I was like, man, like, I really want to see if that's the scene. Cause that's the scene that I always like when I go down this list, and before I even watch the movie, I try to go back and like think of like the cool scenes I remember from the movie. And like, would this be it? So I looked it up. I'm like, yeah, that's going to win.
Yeah. Yeah, it wins.
All right, the Andy Dufresne Get Busy Living or Get Busy Dying Award for the best or most quotable line of the movie. Adam, I believe you and I had the same thing, so I'll let you go ahead and.
Okay. Let's see here. I had to never have gone to war is something to be proud of. I also have a very big monologue as an honorable mention, but I'll let you go before.
Yeah, I
do that
mean,
really
I had the same thing. It's just kind of the theme of the movie
yeah.
to an extent. So, I mean,
I really liked the monologue though, because it kind of hammers the point home, but it's kind of saying the same thing. So I was a little bit more succinct with it.
yeah, that was pretty easy. But yeah,
Yeah.
I just think that's just like that little piece is just the whole point of the whole movie. It's just like he struggled with being a soldier, and I just think it is hammered home the point of the movie. So I'm good with giving it to that.
Mm-hmm.
And
I agree. Just like grappling with that survivors, and then the kid wanting to have gone to war, like wanting to help out, and then like all of the veterans telling him like, no, you don't understand. Like, yeah, it encapsulates the movie in that one line.
The McLovin Award for the best or scene stealing performance, and I also believe you and I had the
McLovin.
Oh, thanks, man. Best or scene stealing performance. I think you and I had the same person as well.
Yes, and I'm gonna try and say his name again. See here, checking out my notes. Kuranosuke Sasaki as Seiji Akitsu.
Yeah,
he is the captain of the crew that is on the small ship.
Yeah. I have an affinity for like these crusty boat captains.
Yeah.
I mean, always a sucker for a good one. Yeah. I mean, I think the best is obviously Quint from Jaws.
Yeah, agreed.
But yeah, I love these characters. A movie can never go wrong if there's just a salty captain of a boat.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the fact that he calls Coachy out on his shit too. Like, why didn't you marry this girl? Like, you need to be a dad to that kid.
Yeah.
He isn't afraid to fucking like tell him how it is and how he should be. He needs to get his head out of his ass.
Yeah.
Which that's also like the thing of the movie too, is like they just kind of were okay in this partnership.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you know, like right there the whole time, like, yeah, you guys should be together.
Yeah. And you can definitely tell it was because of his survivor's guilt that they like weren't more than what they were.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And just he's also very like he doesn't trust the government, but yet that scene where they go to like they're going to take on Godzilla, and he's like, well, who like the professor? He tells him like, you know, like why, basically asking why he's going to do it. He goes, well, no one else is going to.
Yeah.
I'm like,
he's like, yeah, we'll do it. No, I really like the fact that he's gung-ho about it, and then he's like, no one else is going to do it, so we might as well. And then like halfway through them getting chased by Godzilla, he's like, well, never mind.
Yeah, he was like, fuck this, we're out of here. But anytime I get you know, just a sea captain like that, it's got like, you know, gruff, but like has a soft core. Looks just roughened exterior. Yeah, they sign me up.
He also has such a like he's the most personable actor in that whole movie too. Like he makes jokes. He has like really great facial expressions, and dude can knock back some sake too.
Oh yeah. He seems to be like the realest one of the members of the boat. Like, you know, Coach, he's dealing obviously with like struggling with being alive when he knows that he shouldn't be. And then the professor seems to be kind of like he kind of let people down. At least that's the vibe that I got, you know. And then of course the kid is just so gung-ho and he's so idealistic about, you know, getting into the thick of things. He just seems like he's the one that's like kind of keeps everybody grounded, you know.
Yeah, he's the glue. Yeah.
And every movie, like a team needs a glue guy, and that's definitely him.
Yep.
All right. Well, there's going to be a couple of awards here that we can't give out because, unfortunately, this being a Japanese film, there's probably not a lot of you that would recognize some of the fine performers in this movie. So we decided to add a couple of new categories specifically for this movie. So the first one that we decided to come up with was we were going to ask Chat GPT what Roger Ebert thought of this. For those of you that don't know, Roger Ebert is pretty much the world-renowned movie critic. He had a program that ran for 20 plus years called Siskel and Ebert. Their film reviews are essentially, they gave a movie a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Sometimes they do thumbs in the middle, but mostly it's thumbs up or thumbs down. So he's kind of like the GOAT of movie reviewers. So we're going to ask Chat GPT what Roger Ebert thought of Godzilla Minus One. So what would Roger Ebert, and it keeps autocorrecting to every. All right.
I love how ChatGPT says that he never saw the film in theaters. He passed away in 2013 for mine. It has to clarify that. Like, yeah, we know.
All right. It says here, likely verdict. Roger Ebert likely would have given Godzilla Minus One a thumbs up, perhaps 3.5 out of 4. He would have praised its ambition, emotional depth, and respect for the original 1954 film's legacy, while offering mild critiques of its pacing or predictability. If paired with Gene Siskel, it's likely they both would agree it stood head and shoulders above most modern blockbusters, and definitely above the American Godzilla films, which Ebert famously disliked.
Yeah, no, I could see him famously disliking those.
All right, that's kind of what I thought.
They are an acquired taste, so yeah. But this one, yeah, no, it breaks the mold. I feel like that would be a very accurate opinion of Roger Ebert.
All right, and the second category is if Adam and I ran a major Hollywood studio, and we both have a very strong appreciation for Godzilla Minus One. So, like most Hollywood studios do, we're not going to craft our own original story. We're basically going to adapt a successful formula done in another country and adapt it to an American audience. So we decided if Adam and I are going to remake Godzilla Minus One with an American cast and tell it from a U.S. soldier's point of view, what would the theme be and who would we cast in it? So, cast an American version of Godzilla Minus One. And this might be the only time these categories ever come up here. So if they suck, I apologize. You'll probably never hear about them again. Or if you like them, let us know. Maybe we'll bring them back.
Yeah. I kind of like the recasting one. I feel like that could go for a lot of movies. I'm going to go ahead and go with the Koichi person that ChatGPT got for me. Koichi Shikishima would be played by Andrew Garfield. I feel like that would be great.
Well, see, for me, I had Jeremy Allen White from The Bear.
Oh, yeah, that would be good too. Yeah.
Noriko
would be.
Go ahead.
Yeah, should be Florence Pugh. I mean, I could see it, I guess.
I had Lily James.
Lily James would be better, I think.
Yeah, she played. I think she played Pamela Anderson in the Pam and Tommy movie that came out with Sebastian Stan.
Yeah.
For some reason, they cast Akiko, the orphan, which I'm not even gonna bother with that one.
Yeah. It would be. Yeah.
Kenji Noda. I have Paul Dano, which I could see that.
Yeah, I could see that. They cast Joseph Gordon-Levitt for mine. I feel like that's a little bit off.
Yeah, Paul Dano would definitely. I would say. would be more in line because he kind of has that bit of quirkiness.
Yeah.
They have Captain Takibana. Is that who you have next?
Yeah, the mechanic. Yeah.
J.K.
Isn't that
Simmons.
Yeah. Oh, J.K. Simmons for you. Okay. It was Bryan Cranston for me. I feel like Bryan Cranston would pull that off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're doing this, but the last one that they have is Godzilla.
Mine didn't do that. Oh wait, yeah, no, yeah, they did. Never mind.
They had motion capture and roar designed by Doug Jones, who's infamous for Pan's Labyrinth, The Shape of Water, and Hellboy. But yeah, they said Godzilla reimagined as the physical manifestation of American nuclear guilt born from the Manhattan Project fallout, now attacking U.S. shores.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that idea.
I like that idea as well. I feel like it says it actually gives me a suggestion. It says, would you like to imagine that in this specific setting, like a post World War II California, or reimagined New York? I feel like post World War II California would be the place where it attacks. New York would be good though.
Yeah, I think that would be the logical one. Although California kind of makes, I mean, you could do California, but I would probably see it being New York. Just because, like,
I think, the 98 one did New York, and I feel like the 90s were a more like New York centric. There's a lot more movies happening being set in New York than there are now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I think maybe 9/11 might change that a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. That's probably why.
Yeah,
no monster movies in New York anymore.
Right. So yeah, I don't know. I could see it doing that, or even like Washington D.C.
Yeah,
wouldn't be a bad one either. So
I feel like didn't the 2014 Godzilla he attacked Hawaii and San Francisco, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah,
I think that's yeah.
Which I hope he didn't crash the Mrs. Doubtfire birthday party.
Let's hope not.
Yeah, like they're jumping around. All of a sudden, this fucking gigantic lizard comes like rumbling through the streets of San Francisco. And Miranda brought home a cake. I only brought up Mrs. Doubtfire because I literally seen it about 45 minutes before we went on. It was on like, I think it was on like Tubi, because I've become fascinated with Tubi.
I mean, who isn't? They have great movies on Tubi. Like, so whenever I'm on Tubi, there's a movie that's on that it's like, okay, I wouldn't watch this normally, just like go and pick it out and watch it, but it's on here, so I'm gonna watch a little bit of it.
Well, I like the jingle when you fire it up. It goes Tubi. I was like, all right,
it's better than yeah.
All right, the Indiana Jones It Belongs in a Museum Award for the prop you would most want for your collection.
Now, I know we always say I can't pick the vehicle, but damn, that plane is cool. That plane is so cool. But if I had to pick, it would probably, I would say the little envelope full of the pictures that he had. Because then, like, you know, people are like, "Hey, what do you got all those for?" It's like, "Oh, that's from the movie Godzilla Minus One."
I really hope that Godzilla, they had a miniature of Godzilla.
Oh yeah, no. If we're
because if it's a miniature, if they did use miniatures like a Godzilla miniature, I'm totally going with that.
I feel like they did. I feel like they did a lot of practical effects in this, and they mixed it with visual effects. Because there's the Ginza scene is definitely miniatures.
Oh yeah, you could tell like the train, the train that she's riding on, and like that's definitely a miniature.
But it looks good anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
I
even say when I seen it, I was like, damn, that looks fucking good for like. I mean, you can tell it's a miniature, but it still looks fucking good.
Yeah, I feel like that's the reason why movies don't look good anymore, especially like Marvel movies. And we've talked about it before on the show, like when we were doing our Jurassic Park, which you can listen to wherever you get podcasts. That combining like practical effects with special effects, definitely the way to go when it comes to realism. I feel like we hit that stride in the 90s and late 90s, early 2000s, and then they decided to just go straight CG from there, and it just was.
I think because it's kind of more laziness than anything.
Yeah,
like why spend all this time putting together like these miniature sets and everything when I could just easily do I can do it on a computer.
Yeah, and of course the director, being from a visual effects background, knows like, hey, this would look great as a practical effect.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the way he does it.
Yeah. If Godzilla, the miniature Godzilla, is off the table, I'm probably taking one of the bomber jackets. I love those coats to begin with, so I'd probably take one of them.
Yeah. Or I would like the giant inflatable, like, I don't even know what it is, like the balloon that they use to sink Godzilla.
To bring him back up. They're going to bring him back up?
Yeah. I'll take one of those giant balloons. Have it as a bouncy house in my backyard.
Yeah, you see this, kids? They tried to murder a 200-ton lizard with that thing. Careful.
And you're just jumping on like a trampoline.
Careful, like don't get two in them creases there. There might be some residue left over, and it might mutate into something you don't want to turn into, guys. Yeah, I'd say the bomber jacket would probably be my pick.
That's a good one.
Or even like the miniature train.
Yeah,
that'd be cool too. So, that'd be my pick.
Okay.
And now my phone is not cooperating with me, so I can't bring up the next portion of the show. Damn it. Okay, the John Williams Award for the best use of music in the movie.
I think we're agreed on this because obviously, the original Godzilla suite, like you can't beat it.
Yeah, when
it's just so iconic.
Yeah, when they destroy Ginza, you hear that dun 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 dun.
So good.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yep.
I swear they sample that in a rap song too.
Yeah.
And I'm actually gonna look it up.
Like even the military march that they do at the end, the dun 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 dun, dun, dun so iconic.
Let's see. That is Pharaoh Monk's Simon Says. They use it in he samples the Godzilla theme.
Oh yeah, okay.
Shout out to Pharaoh Monk. Knows his stuff.
Yep.
But it just the Godzilla theme tying into him destroying the city, just chef's kiss.
It's
kind of a nice nod to the history of the franchise too.
It's one of those pieces of music that isn't like super popular because obviously, it's just in Godzilla movies, but like people know it from just old school Hollywood. Like that's just the theme from Godzilla is old school Hollywood as it gets, really.
Mm. Yeah. But yeah, any like I had it in the promo, but yeah, that song you were talking about too, that piece, that was really good too. That dun 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 dun.
Yeah, they use that in the American Godzilla. One of them, I think, King of the Monsters was the one they used it in. It hits so much better in this movie because it's like super hopeful. Because you want the humans to win in this movie. You actually want them to win.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, the Godzilla theme I think is the way to go, though.
100%.
All right, the Hall of Fame Award for Career Achievement. There wasn't a lot that I could really come up with. So I've got 3.
Okay.
Post World War II themed movies,
I
like
think
dealing with
that
the
this is
fallout of war.
I feel like this is top 5.
Yeah, I'd probably
sure.
say so. I can't really come up with anything, like after the fact.
It's the first thing that I thought of. Meh.
Now I'm going to defer to you on this one because you've seen much more Godzilla movies than I have. So I definitely say you're the resident expert here in the on the couch. But Godzilla movies. Would you
Godzilla
consider?
movies. It is the best Godzilla movie thus far. Like I constantly say like, okay, original 1954 Godzilla, favorite Godzilla movie, and then like Final Wars is one of my favorites, even though it's goofy. And then everybody hates the American '98 one, but I kind of have a soft spot for it. But I think putting my biases aside and just going off of merit alone, this is probably best, like top tier Godzilla movie, number 1.
Now, all the Godzilla movies I've seen, I would say that it is.
Yeah.
Like I've seen the original. I've seen the '98 one, which I cannot stand. A lot of it has to, like the fact that they sample Led Zeppelin does not help its case, but I just don't think it's a very good movie. I think it's kind of a train wreck. And I've seen some of the Japanese ones, like where he's fighting. Like I remember when I worked at a video store, and I used to be able to play movies on the TVs as long as they were not rated R. And my one of my managers had a very strict you couldn't be above PG, like couldn't watch anything PG-13. So I would pop in some of them Godzilla movies and watch them.
Yeah.
And which I always found that whole rule was weird because I've caught him watching Gremlins one day, and like that Gremlins is more like violent than some like PG-13 movies today. Like Gremlins is fucking grim.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'd fire up some of them Godzilla movies, like where he fights like Mecha Godzilla.
Mecha
And there's
Godzilla, Space
Mothra.
Godzilla. Mothra always helps him, but he does fight Rodan and a bunch of other.
Yeah,
like,
Rodan as Rodan. But yeah, to me, it's the best Godzilla movie I ever seen.
Yeah, I agree.
And then, would it make your top 5 for the best 21st century foreign films? I say no.
Yeah. Really? Okay.
Well, I mean,
enlighten you.
Well, let's see. There is City of God. It's a Brazilian film. There's Parasite. Parasite won Best Picture at the Academy Awards. So I think that's... Yeah. We spoke of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Yeah.
Pan's Labyrinth is another one.
Pan's Labyrinth is good. I think this beats out Pan's Labyrinth for me, but that's just my opinion. It's not objective. So,
yeah. Then like there's Battle Royale and Infernal Affairs. No, the John Woo action movies are from the late '90s, so I can't count them. But yeah, I don't think it quite cracks the Hall of Fame for me. I mean, it gets in, but I don't think it's on the first ballot.
Really? Okay, I think it's top 5.
Yeah, I'd put it in at some point. I'm not putting it in first ballot.
Okay, fair enough.
But it still gets in. And the last one, we still haven't come up with a name for this category yet, so we have to attempt that at some point. But the Brotato score, what would you give this on a scale of 1 to 5?
I would give this, and I'm going to go with Roger Ebert's thumbs up opinion on ChatGPT and give this a 4.5 out of 5.
I'm going on the Ed McMahon scale. I'm giving it 4 3/4 stars.
I like it.
I really
Right,
wish that
4
Star Search was still
stars.
like. I wish Star Search was really like in like more pop culturally relevant. I would totally call this the Ed McMahon Star Search
Yeah.
score award, but yeah, I'm giving it 4 3/4 out of 5.
Yeah.
And
It's a
I
good
dare
watch.
say I know it was easily one of my 2 or 3 favorite movies of 23.
Same.
Easily.
And it was late in 23 too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's saying something.
Yeah, so yeah, good stuff. So I encourage you guys and gals definitely check it out. It is on Netflix. Do you know if they did do a black and white version of this too? I don't know if it's available to stream anywhere. I know is it part of the Blu-ray set or do you have to buy it separately?
I think you have to buy it separately. It is not part of my Blu-ray set that I purchased. So unfortunately.
Okay. There is a black and white version of this. I wanted to check it out because I think done the right way, like taking these movies and turning them into black and white adds a whole new depth to the movies. They did that with Mad Max Fury Road, and it does a whole. I think they did it with Furiosa too, but it's not the same ballpark in terms of movies.
I think they did it with Justice League as well. Also, not same ballpark.
No. But yeah, I highly encourage you to check out that version if you can as well. I don't know. I'm sure you could buy it wherever you get your digital movies. You could, if it's separately sold, you could buy it on Amazon. So definitely check out that version too.
It is solid. I did go see that in theaters.
Yeah, you got
released that later.
Adam did get to see that in movie theaters. An invite was not sent my way.
I think I did invite you, and then you were doing something, so I took my dad. So
fair point. I guess if I can't go, the next best person to ask would be your father.
But it was solid. It wasn't a palette swap. They didn't just palette swap everything. They actually went through and they adjusted everything to look really, really good. So
nice.
It's good. Yeah.
But yeah, highly recommend you guys head on over to Netflix, hit the old stream button, check it out. So yeah, I think it's going to wrap it up for today. I did think we butchered this as much as I thought we were going to. I figured with the lack of categories, it may run a little short. We got over an hour, so well done, sir.
Nice. Okay.
But I guess it helps when I've got a super expert in a particular film character to be part of the show.
Yeah. Gotta love Godzilla. We're gonna give all the credit to Godzilla.
Yeah. Now, if this would have been a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, I'd have been your guy. Yeah, Cyborg's coming at some point. No, it's not. That is going to do it for this episode, guys and gals. Be sure to hit up the show description. That way you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, X, Blue Sky, wherever there's social media. Chances are you will find the Couch Brotato Podcast. That way you can get all the up-to-date information on our program. If you like what you heard today, please hit the like and subscribe button and just take like maybe 30 seconds. Please leave us a 5-star review. That does help the show gain some visibility, and it also lets us know what kind of job we're doing here. So we do encourage any kind of feedback. So and also you can leave us a 5-star review on Spotify. I always forget about that. Spotify has the 5-star reviews. You can even leave show comments like on each episode. You can tell us like, yeah, you guys are horrible pronouncing Japanese names, which I know, and I feel horrible about doing it. But yeah, leave us a comment on the episode. Let us know what you thought of today's show. So without further ado, that's going to wrap it up, and we will talk to you guys and gals later.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.